Today I'm going to be talking about another classic, Lord of the Flies by William Golding. And geez, was I not expecting that. Well guys, this has been a long time. I read this for about a month. I read it a little bit slower. As you can see, I've annotated it quite a bit because I read this for school initially and I just really had a lot to say about it. I'm going to be reading and reviewing a lot of classics here on the channel, especially in this kind of fantasy realm, except it just takes a really different turn, which I love. I can't rate this. I talked to you about classics, like when I reviewed something like Foundation, it's hard to review. Like, at least in enjoyment, like giving a star rating, because this book was literally designed for me not to like it, not to enjoy it. This is an exploration of humankind, and it really shocked me. I wasn't expecting a lot of it. The things that I wasn't expecting was just a lot of the bummers of this, a lot of the fake physical threats, but in reality the threats were all in the mind. And if you are interested in that the Lord of the Flies is a book for you. If you're looking for a good time though, I don't know if it is, because it is set like a book that will give you a good time. It is set like where that puts you at the start is like, oh, it's gonna be like a Castaway or Hatchet, but it's not. It is the main focus of this is not physical survival, or in other books like Hatchet is another one I'm going to take an example from. The main thing is physically getting enough to eat, enough to drink, getting shelter, and that's really fun, and that's what I expected. But here, food was never the issue. Water's never the issue. There's plentiful in here. And William Golding explores how humans can really destroy other humans. If you don't know, this has a bunch of boys stranded on an island, and there was one real leader named Ralph who everyone votes as to be the leader, but obviously there's like kind of the villain of the story. I would say, like, there's not a villain, but this is the boy who kind of tears everyone apart, is Jack, and he's the leader of a choir, and he's the leader of the hunters. He obviously has a different mission of the other ones the whole time. It's completely different. His idea of survival and everybody else's idea of survival. Jack's was kind of hunt to, like, it's more primal given to him, and everyone else is just kind of focused on getting away from the island, trying to figure out smoke signals, trying to figure out shelter. And he's more primal, and it's hard to read because he's a very hateable character, mainly for he's just destroying so many innocent kids. Because my opinion, he never really was innocent, especially Jack. Because whenever this happened, I think there's one instigator of all of this, because this would have never happened if it wasn't for Jack. And he's the kind of the instigator, so he's a very hateable character. He's one of the most hateable characters I've ever read, in my opinion. So yeah, again, there's a lot of hate in this book, and there's a lot of, I think, four or five wholesome characters who stayed loyal from the start, except for Sam and Eric, who at the end were kind of in between. And this, and then we have Ralph, who is really the main character who you're watching through this the whole time. You're watching it through his perspective the whole time, and you see the boys go to primals. And it's crazy because this is one of the first books I read without a villain that's the outside. It's coming from themselves, and it's crazy to see. It really shocked me, and it made me view things a lot different. I don't know if it's completely accurate. Like, I don't know, like, I've been that age before, and I don't know if it would have been that bad, especially the enjoyment of murder, especially for some of the boys on Jack's side, was kind of crazy. And so I think this is an exaggeration, but it's not entirely false whatsoever, because really the villains is ourselves, and a power and organized society is not really loved by them, and once they ignore that, it goes crazy. And obviously Golding wrote this during the Second World War, so what he was seeing was a lot of this, like, the disfaith in humankind. And it's true for a lot of ways, because people are evil in some ways, but they're like really good people out there. In my opinion, that's why we have Ralph and Piggy and Simon and characters in this book. But yeah, but like people like Jack are very hateable in some of these. So I can't rate this book. I'm going to talk about this, but I do say it's a high quality book. I'm going to tell you it's not as hated as like some people really hate these school books they have to read in school, and they have a point because it's not enjoyable. And again, with a lot of these books, some books, especially the older ones, the classics, aren't meant for the enjoyment but are meant for the speculation. And if that's what you're into, I totally recommend this book, because if this is going to give you some new speculation, it has some interesting ideas it brings to the table. But did I have fun reading this book? The answer is no. I thought it was interesting at the start, and then it took a really bad turn for me. Well, as in not in quality, but as in enjoyment, and I felt scared at the end. It's more like a metaphor, the whole book. And a lot of these things are symbolism. There's a lot of symbolism, as in like the Lord of the Flies itself is a symbol, and the conch is a symbol, and Piggy's glasses are a symbol. And a lot of this stuff is crazy to see how he takes it. I was shocked at the end. One of my favorite parts of this whole book was at the end of the book. They find the officer, and all the innocence just floods back to them the moment they see an adult presence. And that was crazy, just to like snap out of it in that one moment. And that was my favorite moment of the book. And that's how it ends right there. And it's funny because like they were just primal. They were straight up not thinking about like others, and they were just trying to survive as in the most primal way possible. And that was shocking to me. And I have not read anything like Lord of the Flies by William Golden. And yeah, I'm going to try reading more classics in my book. I'm personally going to start reading Fahrenheit 451 again, something very similar, but introduces completely different ideas. And I like reading classic in my life towards the end, at the end of the night, especially not fantasy classics. Fantasy classics explore the genre, like Dune or Lord of the Rings or Foundation, which Lord of the Rings, which I'm reading right now. And these classics explore ideas of the human nature. And this isn't, I can't find a really genre for it other than psychological, because it's really psychological. Like, it's not thrilling whatsoever. It's scary. Again, there's parts of it is thrilling when I think about it, but still, it's not for that. It was pretty good for pretty good in action and thrilling for a classic, but you're not gonna read it for that. And again, no rating for this book. Very good classic book. I am not gonna forget it. It's hard to say, oh, this was a great book, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm not gonna forget that book. It is staying in my head forever, and that's like, it's giving you bad thoughts, and that's what it's supposed to do, giving you like his opinion on humanity. And yeah, another update what I'm currently reading. I'm reading Fellowship of the Ring, which I'm almost done with. The reviews coming soon. A little bit happier because I enjoyed, once I finished this feeling terrible, I got to escape to the Shire, which was a good thing. So that was the one good thing about this. But I actually had a good experience reading this book, even though what I say, it was a good experience. And I'm also reading the Umbrella Academy graphic novel, Apocalypse Suite, which I'm just started reading. I got that in the mail today. I'll review that because it is the book. I'm gonna start reviewing comic books here on the channel. So yeah, that was today's review. It's a classic. Tell me if you guys like these classic reviews, because if you do, Fahrenheit 451 is coming in the next couple months. That is on my TBR, along with Dark Matter, the rest of Lord of the Rings, the rest of Umbrella, whatever you guys recommend me. So recommend some books in the comments, and I'll get to them eventually, hopefully. Probably not, but yeah, that was today's review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Go check out Lord of the Flies, and see you guys in the next one.